Hello, my name is Alicia. If you do not know, I teach DBT online. I've taught DBT online and in person for 6 years and 10 years respectively. Feel free to check out my website. Feel free to subscribe. I post DBT videos and decided to begin a series both here and on my blog reviewing DBT apps. So I've been doing DBT online for a while, and people will ask for recommendations or apps or mention apps to me, and I feel like I'm a little bit behind. And I was joking on Instagram that I might be the only millennial who has not tried a DBT app. So I figured I would give each one roughly a week shot. So feel free to stay tuned as I go through other DBT apps and give reviews. I asked on Instagram, feel free to follow me there and let me know any suggestions you have about what apps you utilize that are good. There's quite a number out there. Most of them have really good reviews, and I'm paying for premium out of my own money, not sponsored or anything, for all of the apps, just to make sure I'm giving a fair review of everything it has to offer. So I will start with the first review. Also, for those of you who are in my class or have watched other videos, I do have a studio downstairs, but I figured I'd make this a little bit more casual video, and the best lighting is kind of in my dining room. So welcome to the dining room. Hopefully it's not too distracting. So I will also include screenshots and screen grabs of what the app looks like. For reference, I have an iPhone, just to kind of give you an idea of how it looks on my device. I have an iPhone 8, which, as a heads up, is sort of the smaller screen compared to what is kind of more typical now of some of the larger phones. So things might look a little bit different on your phone than it does on my phone, kind of as a heads up. So I'm going to kind of throw that out there. There are also 2 apps that were recommended to me that are only on Android. I don't have an Android phone to really test it out. So if you have an Android phone and you want to shoot and make a video, I'd be happy to share it on my social media in order to put things out there and just give people a fair assessment. So once again, all with my own funds in order to start these reviews. Feel free to check out the blog as well, and I will kind of dive in to these to the next review and start. So the first one that I reviewed was kind of recommended. It was also interesting to see that some of the students and peers recommended different ones than kind of the more professional crowd on Instagram. So this one was from a peer, and it is called DBT Diary Card and Skills Coach. The symbol is like this green brain. So I will start with kind of following somewhat of a pattern, I promise. So it was created by Durham DBT. It's a DBT clinic in the United States. They're well known and have a great reputation. So it comes from a reliable source. Not that others don't, just sort of started there. So it comes from a DBT clinic, which I think is kind of important to make sure that the DBT skills are actually correct. And viewing them, they were. It cost $4.99, paid $4.99 for it. $4.99 seemed like a reasonable price, and in my review, I will say that seems about right, maybe even a little on the low end compared to some of the other ones, especially for what it offered. It was easy to use, fairly tech savvy, but I wouldn't say I'm the tech savviest person at all. And it was easy to find where things were located. It was easy to click on that pop up, something showed up. I found it really, really simple to use. The icons are also really large. In looking at some other app reviews that I haven't quite downloaded, it seems like a major complaint is that the font is small for a couple of them, and it was kind of nice because the fonts were large, the icons were large, and if it wasn't, I could click on it and the words would expand, which I thought was pretty nifty. It was very, very accurate. There was not a single moment that I was like, that's not what Wise Mind is, or that's not a good example. The descriptions of the skills were lengthy. As a whole, it was not Wise Mind is this. It was paragraphs, like 2 paragraphs. Often there was an example given for them, which I thought was great. I would say that this app is great if you know the skills but maybe get confused, if you're new to the skills. It in and of itself is a diary card, and I like the format. It was started out with a calendar, but it also, in 2 different sections, had a lot of DBT information. I would almost say that it was like a DBT book. It would definitely be like a cheat sheet workbook. There was a lot of information for every single skill listed, which I thought was great. So you're not like, Wise Mind, I think I did that today, but is that the thing? Like, if you don't know, you just click it right in where you're at. You don't need to go to another page and click it. It's right there, which I also really, really liked. And once again, made it really easy to use. Very, very easy to use. Completely accurate. I liked how easy it was to use. The pros were, it was very psychoeducational. I liked the calendar setup. It made it really easy to enter daily information. I used it for about a week, I will admit, and I will post my diary card, that I did forget it 2 days. One day I honestly completely forgot to enter my information, and one day I believe it was right after midnight, so it counted for the next day. So, I mean, that's on me, not on the app, but just wanted to point out kind of transparency here. I don't fill out diary cards, so it was a little challenging for me in some ways since I'm not used to filling out a diary card, and I'm also not used to using an app. Overall, I felt like it had a ton of information. It was easy to use, the price was right, there was nothing about it that stands out as being kind of negative. I have some suggestions. I wouldn't say they're things that I don't like or cons necessarily. There's just a few things that I was like, this would be better if, and once again, this is my opinion. It's a great app. I think it's really great. So far, I very much like it. I would give it a 9 out of 10 for sure. And these are more suggestions. Kind of putting it out there to the ether of things, and maybe they're working on it, maybe it's something that just isn't feasible. But overall, I feel like, especially for the price, $4.99, totally reasonable. So kind of suggestions that I had, I wish there was notifications, and if there is and I turned them off, I did search, I didn't see anything, but I would have kind of liked to get like a little buzz or even notification on my phone like every night at 9 p.m. to say like, did you fill out your diary card? Or even just little prompts like, I hope you're having a good day today, or don't forget to use your skills. I feel like that, and maybe it's me, I find that it's just motivating. I know for some like fitness apps, they do those, and I know sometimes it can get kind of a bit much. Looking at you, Duolingo, it's a language app and it's a lot of messages, unnecessary amount in my opinion, but kind of would have liked a little daily check-in every other day. I don't know this, but maybe if you don't fill out your diary cards for 2 days or 3 days, it kind of gives you a nudge or sends a message, just something, maybe something discreet for people who might not want DBT showing up on their phone, or maybe, people asking what's going on. So that was kind of a suggestion I had, not a big deal. I also noticed if you changed your feelings on the scale of 1 to 5 that they have, which I found really useful, although kind of hard to chart. The chart was kind of wonky, and I would have liked something a lot more visual myself, but maybe that's just me. And you can print it out or email it to your counselor therapist, which I thought was really cool, to make it really easy. But I would have liked a little more visual for me, or like, great job, 3 out of 5 days, you filled out your diary card. Just some little, just give me a high five, just give me a win, give me a cheerlead. I feel like that keeps me going. Once again, maybe that's totally not your style and you want something more hands off. I noticed that when you select the mood section, the feeling section, and you grade it, certain ones, if you like hit a 3 on like anxiety, it'll kind of normalize it and also give you a suggestion on a skill. There was a couple of them, especially some of the urges. I would have kind of liked a pop-up. This is the therapist in me more than the DBT student, that just said something like, if you're in trouble, you might need to seek help. I'm not saying that should like alert authorities or do anything like that, but I feel like from my perspective, if somebody is thinking of some of these urges, at like a 5 out of 5, it would have been nice just to have a little like, check in a little, that kind of thing. I won't compare it to some of the other apps until we kind of get in a little bit further, but I would have just liked a little safety net, or even just like a link that has all the crisis numbers worldwide. Just something made me kind of a little nervous that there wasn't that. And also when you do hit a 3 and that little pop-up shows up with skills, which is great, I noticed it's not for every behavior, and part of me was like, it would be nice if this was including happiness. That could potentially be mania, and maybe just having a great week. So those are suggestions. I'm not developing an app, or people have asked me in these reviews. I'm not adding more to my plate, but these are just suggestions I had to make the app better. Overall, once again, total 9 out of 10. Definitely think it's worth the money. I think it is best for people who are beginners, because there's a lot of information on there. It's kind of, once again, like a little mini book, a little cheat sheet, maybe even a big cheat sheet. And it didn't feel overwhelming, but I think if you're kind of a beginner, if you're getting confused about the skills, the fact that it's in it, you don't need to like link back. Click on it, find out what Wise Mind is, and then go back in to a diary card. It felt really useful. Like the coaching was really useful. If you're kind of getting back into DBT, if you're self-teaching, kind of DIYing the DBT thing, which is perfectly fine. That's what a lot of people are doing now for many reasons. Overall, I felt like that would be a good category. If you're kind of a DBT pro, it might feel a little basic or a little wordy, but I wasn't too worried about that overall. I would probably recommend it. If somebody was interested in a paid app, it was $4.99. Once again, it came from a reliable source. It was super easy to use for me. So feel free in the comments to let me know what your opinion was if you use this app or another app that you want to try. I'm moving into another app that I'll be posting soon that I've been using for the last 3 days. And then we'll end with kind of a video where I kind of tell you the basic, shorter pros and cons and compare them, and maybe select like top 3 or best for newbies, best for professionals, that kind of thing. But overall, 9 out of 10. I think they did a great job. I think it's a great price. It's on the lower end compared to what else is out there. And I forgot who recommended it, but thank you for recommending it on Instagram. I would definitely recommend it to students that I work with. So my name is Alicia. I am going to continue doing DBT app reviews. So feel free to check them out and check out my blog, where I'll also have this written up and also have a little chart at the end of these reviews, hopefully in the beginning of 2020 once I'm done. There's a lot to choose from. And let me know if you have any suggestions or apps or video suggestions. So hit notifications, hit subscribe, kind of the usual if you wanted to learn more about DBT or just interested in DBT app videos.